Hello, I'm Alex Grubard. This is the Scenester podcast, an oral history of scenes, an oral history of the scene. I'm trying to get different things about people's cultural experience with their scenes they were in, different eras, different places, different times, lots of different weird cultural pop culture and other things, sort of things, comedy, music. Today we're talking skateboarding in Tulsa, Oklahoma. With me is Joshua Lay.
Hey, how's it going?
Thanks for being on the pod, man.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So you were you're from Tulsa.
Yes, born and raised.
And you were in Tulsa. Asked you. You've told me a bit about this before, but an era where you were in Tulsa skateboarding, big part of the skateboarding culture in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Yes.
And what year are we talking about?
So roughly the years would be like 2005, 2010, but today we'll focus mostly on like 2008.
Yeah, I want to focus on a specific year. Obviously, things come up around that, but just kind of if you could land it in a place. So like 08, well, how old are you in this scenario?
I'm a sophomore/junior in high school.
Yeah, high school is probably a good time to be skateboarding.
Yeah, it's
You're
probably
limber.
probably the best time because now that I'm 31 and people find out like, oh, you skate still? I'm like, yeah. And they're like, really? I'm like,
You're like, I'm already in pain.
yes.
Have you got injured before?
Yeah, I've had numerous injuries. If we're focusing on 2008 specifically, that was the year I broke my femur.
Your femur.
Yeah, that
Oh,
big
God.
thigh bone, baby.
Ow, jeez, how did that happen?
I tried a 5-0 grind, a 7-stair handrail, and just came out awkward, rolled my ankle, and as my ankle went, sort of the top half of my leg just went with the inertia or something like that. I don't know. I didn't pay attention,
That
but
sounds so painful.
yeah, it's actually on YouTube.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, it says it's got a funny name. Maybe people will be able to decipher and figure it out because it's kind of hidden. But I think it racked up probably like 10,000 plus views. This is like 2008 YouTube too. So
Wow.
it's kind of weird. but-
YouTube was fresh.
Yeah, and in it, the reason why I was so popular, not because it's like a nasty, gruesome leg break, but it's because I squeal like a girl as soon as it happens. And what's really funny, I remember like breaking my leg, and this is like the 5th time I'd been injured because before I'd broken my wrist multiple times. But this one was like gnarly because like, oh, it's my leg. Like I can't move, I can't walk. So I remember just laying there, feeling like I was going to pass out. Ambulance comes, they do all that stuff. Then the next day I text my buddies and I was like, hey, like, did it seem like I handled it pretty tough? And they're like, yeah, dude, you're a trooper. Like, don't even worry about it. And then my buddy, like, next day texts me and goes, hey, so I just watched the footage and got some bad news.
Oh, no. What is it like? The squeal, you're like, ah!
Oh, it's just this high pitch, just, ah! Like, but like, I'm, 15 at the time, so it's even higher.
Yeah, right.
And so that's the reason why I was so popular, because like every comment is just like, OMG, he squealed like a bitch.
Oh, man.
And then I remember one distinct comment for whatever reason. It was just like, there goes the myth that Asians have strong bones.
Is that a myth?
I guess it was news.
Man.
It was news to me.
Yeah. Well, you've just learned about this myth and valued it.
Yeah.
Man, dismissed it. That's crazy. Well, that sounds brutal. Yeah. But cool video. What's the video called? Do you want to throw it out there? You don't have to.
Well, let's see if people find it, because maybe we get into nicknames later. It's nickname that I had growing up, and then broken leg.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So,
Wow.
Yeah, setting some seeds, right?
Do you have a bunch of YouTube videos out there? Like, are there a bunch of skate videos with you?
Yeah, there's a bunch of like the crew that I grew up skating with and stuff.
So tell me about this crew. You guys were, I assume, you're focused mainly on one skate shop. There's like that's HQ, headquarters.
Right. So it's kind of
operation.
weird. Like, I mean, we predominantly were Dark Side Skates, the skate shop in Broken Arrow. That's one that's one I skated for, and that my other buddy skated for, and just where we would hang out locally is just like the nearest one and the coolest one in my opinion. But we also hung out with people from like the skate shop called Tulsa Board Shop or The Board Shop. There was a few other skate shops that are just kind of weird just because like they would sell like scooters and stuff too. So like in our head, we're like being elitist. We're like, that's not skateboarding.
That's funny.
That's not core.
Wow.
But yeah, so like my crew, friends, we were called the Darsh crew, just from the South Park name Stan Darsh.
Oh,
and
really?
And then we just came up with a new meaning for the word darsh.
Was stand marsh
Oh, marsh. Yeah, there we go. Well, it devolved into darsh.
for the dark side.
Not even.
Oh, really?
Yeah, for some reason, my buddy Levi just was like, yeah, darsh. I'm like, what is darsh? And just like kind of on the spot, he's like, it's like when you have to poop and like you let the poo, again, we're like 15.
Right.
He's like, you let the poo go like in and out of your butt and you just pretend it's someone's finger.
Oh, so I've heard that, not groundhogging,
Prairie dog.
Prairie dog
Yeah.
in it.
Yeah, we definitely throw the term prairie dog, but prairie dog is different because that's when there's no sexual
Right, that's yeah,
appetite
right.
involved. That
I
one's
get
just
that.
you're pinching.
Right, exactly. Whoa, well, that's crazy. You also probably actually have prairie dogs
In Oklahoma, yeah, definitely out in the where the land is grand. We don't necessarily have some in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, or Tulsa, Oklahoma. At least not that I remember.
So, tell me about when you're skating for Darkside for these companies. These shops. Like, what does that look like? Are you, they're throwing events at Darkside? Are you guys going to events?
Yeah.
Are events involved? I don't even know.
So the shop itself opened in like 2000. So definitely like as the years are getting later, like by 2008, the shop was very running smoothly. They opened up another one in Austin. Like things were going great. So then like we were taking a lot of trips. I was too young to go to a lot of the trips, like just because I had school and I couldn't be pulled out of school to go. But they would go to like San Diego, Los Angeles, Minneapolis, Minnesota for like skate contests, just skate events. And then they would also like get a lot of pro skaters to come to Tulsa, Oklahoma to do demos and signings. So it was really cool. And then skating for the shop itself was just, it's kind of like being a local at like, a friendly comedy show that happens all the time. And just kind of like in this case, we'd get like free product or like heavily discounted product. And just kind of be able to say, hey, I'm sponsored. So you kind of had something to say about yourself, I guess.
Huh, interesting. Yeah, right. Do you get and you get gear and stuff like that?
Yeah, definitely. So the shop owner was very, very kind to me, especially because like very, very poor growing up. And so he would just be like, hey, like, I know you can't even like buy boards at cost, so I'll just give you some free boards.
Oh, sweet.
So, yeah, sometimes he'd be like, here, you can have this board for free, but I'm going to give you the worst grip tape ever. And like by worst grip tape, he'd be like, it's going to be leopard print. It's going to have pink stenciling all over it. And I'd be like, it's a free board. Like, thank you. Like,
yeah, who cares? Yeah. I'll just make it part of my thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want something that like unique more than something that everybody has, I would assume.
For sure, but as a 15-year-old insecure kid, I was kind of like, oh no.
Right, yeah, exactly. Pink. Oh no.
Yeah, very dumb, but it's very cool. And of course, they hooked me up with real products and stuff. And like skate shops are great because they also try to get you sponsored by companies.
Yeah.
So like other people are sponsored by the shop, and they'd also be like flows, what they call it, when you're not fully on, but they'll give you free stuff to see if like anything will happen. So that was cool. Like and I wasn't even like exceptionally good or anything. If anything, I was just young and like kind of good for my age. But they were able to like hook me up with Duff's shoes. So I was able to get like, I remember in like 7th and 8th grade just getting like a box of shoes and shirts for free. I'm like, oh, this is awesome.
Whoa.
So, yeah. That's like
cool.
That's like my glory day claim to fame.
Yeah.
And if you ask any other skateboarder, they'd be like, Duff's.
Is that true?
Yeah, they'd kind of, shit on it, I think.
Is Vans number one?
Vans is very cool. Funny enough, like that's like kind of all I skate nowadays, but growing up we hated Vans. Mainly because Darkside couldn't get them because they're kind of like, if you sell their product, you got to carry a high amount. And so it's kind of like, it's like, is this even feasible to do? And then also going back to like, that's not skateboarding. Like Vans is like skateboarding, but they're owned by Wrangler, I think.
Oh.
Like that corporation. So in our head, like that's like fake core. It's not really like a skate. Which looking back, I think we were wrong to think that.
Well, I mean, there was a different time. I feel like, and this is probably something that would come up on this podcast a lot of like old school selling out.
Yeah.
Like, people don't really think about that as much anymore.
No.
And not for a while, really, but like at least 10 years. But there was a time where selling out was a thing.
Yeah.
And it wasn't okay,
Right,
to
right.
most people that were in the culture, certainly, of anything. I feel like, you didn't want to be looked at as like corporate or selling out for any reason, or if you did, it had to be still incredible. It had to be unbelievable. But yeah, now there's less of that, I think.
Yeah, this
right.
podcast,
Everything's corporate.
This podcast is actually sponsored, right?
Yeah, it's sponsored by Crockpot Comedy at Pet Shop.
There we go.
The show that I run. So, it's sponsored by myself and my sort of old bullshit, I guess.
Yeah, we all know that you have deep pockets.
Yeah, right, exactly. Now, if anyone's out there giving away free boards, I'll take any grip tape. I don't care. Pink it up. So tell me more about like were there other crews in Tulsa?
Definitely. So even though we're focused on 2008, there were still crews of people that were like 3 to 4 years older than us, if maybe a little bit more, that like were running the Tulsa scene, or just kind of like the ones that we looked up to. So there was like a crew, like I would say helmed, but like with the filmer named Randy Rush. And there was also another filmer named Fat Matt, who is now Skinny Matt, so kudos to him.
Oh, there you go.
But they kind of were the ones making local videos. And for skateboarding, like, yeah, so much of it is video-oriented because it's like you document and film your tricks you do to show people. And so, like, we're doing that together, and Randy Rush and Fat Matt were people that just had, like, the nicer cameras. And so they were, like, the go-to filmers for people. Very cool crew that came out with a bunch of videos like Rush, Money the Movie, It's Fern, Get Your Kicks, Tabula Rasa. Like, they made a bunch, but it was also weird because things happened to where it's like, oh, there's a new like main filmer to reach out to.
Huh. And like you say, filmer. So they were like, these were people that like had cameras and were filming stuff?
Yeah, so the
people that getting filmed or...
Yeah, so it's funny. Like the way skate crews kind of work, like especially even with us, like we'd all skate together, me and my main group of friends. Some of us would like just get naturally better, be able to do more tricks. Others would just kind of either not be as into it or just like for whatever reason just didn't progress in their skateboarding. So what kind of usually happens is like there's usually like 1 or 2 people like, man, I can't really like do the stuff that they're all doing, but I still want to hang out and like contribute. Maybe I'll be a filmer. Maybe I'll be a photographer.
Right.
And so like that kind of happens, and then, but most of the time, like even the filmers and photographers still rip and like are really good.
Yeah, was the guy who owned Darkside when he was still skating?
Yeah, he was still skating, and again, like back then, he seemed super old to young me, but he was probably only like 28.
That's so amazing.
Yeah.
Even just be able to like open a business, even if it's like something cool that you're into at like 28 is amazingly impressive.
And he opened one from Tulsa, Oklahoma that was in Austin. Like he clearly was like doing successful things.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he opened another shop in Austin.
He did. Also same name, Darkside Skates. And funny story about that name. So this is also in Oklahoma. Very Bible Belt, very Christian values, hardcore conservative. A lot of people were like, I'm not taking my son or daughter to Darkside Skates. That's Satanists. There's Satanists there.
Wow.
Like, it was literally like, people were like, they worship Satan. They do drugs there. They're terrible, which we didn't do. Like, that was like one thing the shop owner was like very strict. He's like, you guys aren't going to be like drinking and smoking and doing things like that. Like, hang out, be kids, skate, but I'm not going to let you do that. And then there was even one skate shop that opened in the same town called Jen's Skate Shack. It was just this rich little kid whose mom was like, I'll open a skate shop for you.
Wow.
And they were a hardcore Christian. And they even came to the shop and were like, you guys are all going to hell. Like, you guys are sinners. You shouldn't even be a shop. It's like, what are you talking about?
That's just because of dark.
Yeah, and you know like the name...
Basically named after a DC villain.
Yeah, it's funny you said, because the name comes from Star Wars. The owner just loves Star Wars.
That's
like
so
Darkside.
funny.
Yeah, that's a great name.
Oh man, wow, that's amazing. Yeah. Well, incredible. Darkside, that's what it is. It's like the Empire.
Yeah,
Darkside. Man, that's corporate. No, not really, you know.
Oh man, was I with the wrong shop this whole time?
Yeah, you should have been, become very Christian. And,
Jen Skate Shack, yeah.
I guess were people around? People were like looking at you guys like they skate. They're in general, they're like the devil.
Yeah, definitely, because, I mean, skateboarding was still getting really popular. It was popular then, was still getting popularity, but it was still, like, for me at that age, it was still very much like, oh, skaters are like burnouts. They're druggies. Like, what do they do? They're like low in society. There's like losers, especially too. Like I was wearing like girl jeans and like tight pants because you couldn't find tight pants that stretched. So you had to like buy girl pants at the thrift store.
Yeah.
Because like if you wanted tight jeans, then you had to get Wranglers like a cowboy, and those things were stiff as shit.
Yeah, they were. And I remember this era of like '08 or whatever, where you're like, that was tight jeans was so in.
Oh, it was so cool.
I don't know if I'd go that far. I remember it though. I remember buying stuff at like Beacon's Closet here in Brooklyn and being like, everything's tight.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Now I'm like, why were we doing that?
Yeah, it definitely hit a tight where what is it? Diminishing returns of coolness and tightness, fucking thing.
Yeah, not amazing. Well, that's cool. I mean, so tell me about these like trips. You took trips to like Austin and stuff?
Yeah, I was just like a young kid, and my mom was cool enough to let me go on these road trips with 28-year-old, 25-year-old dudes. And she was like, yeah, just watch after my son, please.
Yeah, be safe.
And just go on skate trips. Like Kansas City was a frequented spot. I love Kansas City. We would literally go. So it's really funny. So like skate trips are the best because, for example, like when my friends would come up here to New York City, people would be like, "Oh, New York City, like you get to go to Times Square, you get to go to Broadway." Whenever you're on a skateboard trip, you're just like, "Oh, sick! We get to go check out an alleyway that has a ledge that we can skate."
A famous ledge.
Yeah, and it's like, where is it? It's like, oh, it's deep in Brooklyn. It's like, oh, awesome! Like, can't wait. So it's very funny. So yeah, we would just take trips, and like security guards kick us out in Kansas City. Like, what are you guys doing here? Like, can we skate for like 30 more minutes? Like, we came from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Like, why? Why are you here? This is a school on a weekend. Why are you here? Like an elementary school. Like, very funny.
That's crazy. So where you go to these places, you're just you used this term the other day. You're street skating.
Yeah, street skating. Yeah, street skating. Absolutely.
Did you guys like skate parks? Were you like into that, or was that not, as you say, core?
No, skate parks are cool and everything, but you just don't want to film stuff at skate parks.
Why is that?
Just because it's not legit in a way. Like because the skate park, everything's built for skateboarding, so it's like made perfect. So it'd be kind of like, to make an analogy with stand-up, like filming stuff only at a skate park is kind of filming like your 5-minute set at like a bringer show where things are kind of set up already for like a way for you to succeed no matter what.
Yeah, everyone's there to support.
Yeah, it's not authentic.
Okay. Interesting. But it's like still fun, just so you just don't film there.
Oh yeah, it's still fun. I mean, you can still film stuff. It'd be like what you'd call throwaway clips.
Oh,
so it's like, oh, this is throwaway stuff. Kind of like with stand-up, people have like, oh, I have like throwaway material I'll burn online. Same stuff with like skate park footage. You're just kind of like, like it's whatever.
Got you. Huh.
Unless you skate like vert and bowls, like that stuff's legitimate because like obviously you can't just find natural half pipe most of the time. So like that stuff's like the gnarliest skating. I don't even know how it works.
What, half pipes?
Yeah, like vert is what they call like transition skating. It's just so scary.
What does that mean? I don't follow.
So like street skating would be like if I were to go out on the sidewalk and let's say even if there's a handrail or a stair set, like that's like street skating. Where I vert or transition, where it's like what you think of Tony Hawk.
Yeah, he's going up and then he does a trick and then goes back down.
And it's like it's like built ramps for skating basically.
Yeah, okay.
So like that would be like half pipe transition. That stuff's crazy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's the gnarliest thing ever. It's I kind of keep wanting to try to see if I can make skateboard and comedy analogies.
Yeah, right.
It's like filming a whole special with only one premise in your back pocket.
Just something really tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got
it's just tough. Like
it's like a one-man show.
Yeah.
Which is like a Tony Hawk. It's kind of what Tony Hawk does.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's what they're doing, right?
Yeah, Tony Hawk, impressive. Guy's impressive.
He's the raddest. I back him all the way.
Who did you look up to as a national skateboarder when you were a kid?
I looked up to so many. It always changes. It still changes. But definitely, like when I was younger, Eric Costin was my favorite skateboarder. And he's still up there in the top 5 for sure. But then like guys like Jamie Thomas. But then there's like also a lot of local skateboarders. There's like 2 pros from Tulsa, Peter Ramadetta and Ernie Torres, that were like super cool. And they
were there when you were there?
No, so like there were like 2 generations, I guess, removed.
Okay.
But I mean, again, they're like mid-20s probably, and I was 15. So
yeah,
they're not even,
things probably happen pretty fast.
But they were like super cool, and I met Ernie, and I know Ernie's sister. She was really nice, but Ernie was cool because he would like hook his sister up with like free audio shoes. That's what his sponsor was. And so like sometimes she'd be like, "Hey, you guys want audio shoes?" Like, yeah, of course.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, and things can get like so like just it's a small world where it's like you know the sister and stuff like that. That's cool.
Like in high school, I remember like gym teachers would be like, "Hey, do you know a guy Ernie Torres?" I was like, "Yeah, he's like a pro." Like, really? I remember him in gym class. He was so funny and cool. And I was like, "Hey, I have like skate videos of him in there and like skate magazines with him in it. Like, you want to borrow them?" So I loaned him to my gym teacher.
Oh wow!
And of course, she's reading Thrasher, and there's like stuff about like drugs and debauchery and stuff in there. And she like gives it back. She's like, "You're not doing all of this, are you?" I was like, "No, I'm just like skating." Don't worry, I get the worries, but no, I'm just skating.
Yeah, I'm just reading Thrasher because that's what
Yeah,
that's what's out there.
Yeah, and Thrasher was cool, like because that was the more core magazine, because they didn't censor curse words either.
Oh, okay.
Whereas like Trans World would be like, "Oh, we have a bunch of like PlayStation ads and also censored curse words."
Oh, interesting.
And no mentions of drugs or drinking.
Huh. Well, yeah, interesting. So you guys took trips to like Kansas City and Austin, and where was your favorite like place to skate, or a favorite place even in Tulsa?
Favorite place in Tulsa, ironically, even though I kind of shat on it, is probably Riverside Skate Park. It's just this crappy metal ramp. It was crappy because it wasn't like a full concrete park and designed super well, but it was just like the most fun park. Lights would stay on until 11 p.m. so you could skate there late at night. And then just really fun. Like that's like a lot of places. Like typically at skate parks, you go there to warm up, like get the legs loose and stuff, and like figure out where you want to skate after. But that's probably like, if I were to go, because that skate park's no longer around, like I wish I could bring it back. So when I go back to visit, be like, "Oh yeah, let's skate there." Like
that'd be cool.
Especially as a 30-year-old man.
Yeah. And where and you still mostly do street skating now?
I wish. I see now.
Do you go to the park? What do
I
you do?
go to the park. There's a place in Jersey City called The Rink that's really fun. It's over by kind of behind Healy's Tavern. But yeah, it's fun. That's like kind of the local hang. And then sometimes I get the itch. I'll go in the city and skate. But it's whatever. I'm not as like concerned with like trying to film tricks as much anymore though.
No, I guess not.
Yeah, I can't
fun
have
out there.
Can't have another broken leg video.
Yeah, right.
Screaming.
But that was such a big part of it, I guess. You guys were about filming. You guys wanted to like make skate videos.
Definitely, yeah. Like that's all we did. Like the friends I had, we made like 2 or 3 that I was in. And then since I moved, they made more and whatnot. But
yeah, is the Darsh crew still going?
Yeah,
in one way or the other, really.
Yeah, they're still kicking around. I'm not really a part of it anymore, but
you don't live there, so
yeah, exactly.
I'm sure if you came back, they'd be like, hang out.
Maybe.
You never know. That's crazy. They're still out there. Were any of the who made it the farthest, career wise from Darsh?
So Darsh, they're kind of, some of them were like really good that could have been sponsored, but they didn't really like. They weren't like advantageous about it. Like, oh, I'm gonna try. Like, there's like, I'm just gonna skate, but they're really good. But I mean, I have friends that were sponsored and had other stuff that happened for them. Like, there was one guy. He wasn't necessarily Tulsa, but he was from Joplin, Missouri. But he'd come to Tulsa all the time because that's like the nearest skate scene that had like a good filmer and good crew. His name was DJ Fort. And he skated for like America and stuff and went on trips to these like big skate companies and like they put him in contests. And he was definitely like the best of all those people.
Oh, okay. That's crazy. So the guy from Joplin.
Yeah.
What
and yes, the same Joplin from Barry.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, I figured. I was like, I have heard of Joplin, Missouri
Yeah.
from something. Yeah, it's where the guy runs away and buries, and the whole family does. Yeah, crazy. What how did you guys feel about some other like big skaters? Like that's probably like Viva La Bam, Jackass era, right?
So that's
how did you guys feel about like those guys?
It was very entertaining. Like I loved Jackass growing up and all those things, and like at the time it'd be like a guilty pleasure. Like, oh yeah, Viva La Bam, it's kind of lame, but I'd watch it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just kind of one of those things where it's like, since Bam, he was basically like too popular to where like it's like, and he's also into kind of like lame stuff like the Heartagram logo and like weird bands like him. So that didn't help his cause, but also
You didn't like him?
The band.
I remember him.
Oh God, no!
I had a girlfriend that was into him like a lot.
Jeez.
That's so funny. Actually, I haven't thought about that band in forever.
Yeah.
So I'm like, Bam was into him. I
Yeah,
can't, like,
he got like
even
the
thought about
band's logo tattooed all over him. And, like,
Really?
yeah, it's like it's a heart and like a triangle combined.
I do.
It was on his shoes, his boards, it was everywhere.
I think I know this logo. I
Yeah.
think I can picture it.
It was probably like it kind of looks like it's like a lovey-dovey pentagram. When you quick glance, you're like, wait, is that a pentagram? Well, that's like a heart.
The
Yeah.
same thing. Yeah, for sure.
Right.
That's what I'm thinking.
But now with Bam, he was too popular for his own good, because then he was like a personality instead of a skateboarder.
Right. I always kind of felt like he was like good enough to be a pro, but not like massive. He wasn't like number one or even like top 10 kind of
Right.
in those things, but he was like in that world. That's
Yeah,
how
yeah.
I always envisioned Bam as a skateboarder.
Yeah, I
and
mean,
clearly became, I mean, a lot of those guys probably, like all those guys were in Jackass, were kind of like in other worlds, primarily skateboarding, and they kind of came together.
Well, Jackass originates from skateboarding.
Right, right.
Yeah, it's like from the Big Brother magazine.
Oh, yeah, and like Johnny Knoxville was like a skate journalist, right? A little bit, and like he was an actor, or trying to be an actor.
Yeah.
From what I understand, he was like, kind of writing for skate magazines.
So he was just kind of a dude that hung out with the guys that wrote. Like,
I thought he pitched stuff.
he pitched stuff. So like his thing, his like big thing that made him big was that in one of the Big Brother videos,
he got tased.
either poop or shit. No, better. Yeah, it was like, hey, I'm gonna test out these bulletproof vests.
Oh, right.
So they
yeah,
shot him. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but I don't need to regurgitate that. There's a whole documentary you guys can watch.
Right, I know, but yeah. So like those guys, you're like into it because it's part of the culture, but you're not like looking up to these guys like that.
Nah.
Yeah,
No.
I see what you mean. Yeah, I would envision like Bam. It could be like a guy that like we hate him in a way.
Yeah, growing up, it was like unnecessarily being like trying to be cool by not liking him, but he was fine. Like,
Yeah, and he's like a personality. It's like you're a celebrity in that world. Like vaguely, at least tangentially to the skate.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely like looking back, like when he was in his heyday. At like demo signings, it was really funny because fans would be like, "Can you kick me in the balls as hard as you can?" And he'd be like, "Sure." So like, I definitely would never veer into that territory. Like have him slap me or spit in my mouth.
yeah.
Like so there's like crazy video footage of people just like freaking out over Bam Margera, dude from Westchester, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, I mean, I remember when I moved to Philly and people were like, that was kind of the big celebrity. Like they were all that whole crew. And I knew like a handful of comics that were from Westchester, and they're all like, yeah, I mean, we like went to school with those guys, and like we do know them. Like we run into them at like the bars because they still a handful of them. Like I mean, this is when like Ryan Dunn was still alive and stuff. And they were like they're still hanging out in Westchester, and you run into them, and it's like. And they would be like, you run into them and they're like friendly and they're like, yeah, how you doing? And then if you ever texted them, they would like, you'd never respond or something like that. Like they were, although my buddy was like the guy who was always cool was Ryan Dunn. So it was like, obviously a real shame when he died. And I was a big fan of his because he had a really funny show. He was like, I mean, they were all funny. I liked that stuff, but he had the Homewrecker or something like that. Homewrecker was great.
It was very fun.
Yeah.
The golden age of MTV in my eyes.
Yeah, there was
for my age group. Yeah,
there was some era of like some weird TV shows. Like there was another show that was on Comedy Central for one season that I've never heard anyone ever talk about what I thought was phenomenal called Con.
Con.
Do you remember this show? It was an actor. I don't know this guy's name, but it was just about cons. It was about scams, and he would just like pull these cons that were like how to get a free pizza, how to get like free parking, stuff like that. It was just like a really kind of in the same style as Homewrecker of like how to, and but it was just silly and like very DIY, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I feel like a lot of those shows are like they're cheap, and it seemed like you could just pump out episodes even if it was only one season. And there was an era that there were a bunch of shows like that. Somebody at MTV Comedy Central, somebody at Viacom in the day was like, "This is what we're going with," Yeah, interesting. What other like? Were there other TV shows and celebrities like that were like? Was it just Jackass, or did other people? Well, that guy from Ridiculousness, obviously, is
Rob
one of these
Dyrdek,
people.
Jeez. No,
But he created that shoe
you're
company,
glossing
right?
over. No, he did not create DC.
But
you're glossing over a huge show in that roughly 2008 time period.
Tell me,
The Life of Ryan.
what's the life of Ryan?
The Life of
even know
Ryan
it.
Sheckler, dude.
No idea what this.
You don't
is.
remember this didn't hit in the non-skateboarder radar?
What channel was it on?
MTV. It was Ryan Sheckler, pro skater, very famous pro skater. He was like in the movie Grind. He was also in like Most Valuable Primate. He's like the stunt
He's the
skater.
most valuable
I'm pretty sure he's in the monkey suit for the tricks.
Whoa!
But he's in like all this stuff. He was considered like a sellout. Like, he was like, this guy's lame. He did like Axe commercials and stuff.
I mean, he's in Most Valuable Primate.
But the Life of Ryan, it was literally just him trying to find a chill girl, and he's like so it's basically like Laguna Beach, but focus on one skateboarder.
Wow!
And it went as well as you could imagine for his skate career.
Yeah, right. Did he ever find the one?
Nah, man, it was gnarly. Now he's like a reborn again Christian. He had like some weird thing where he's like, I'm celibate now before I'm getting married. It was like, what is happening to this guy?
What is this life that Ryan has?
Yeah, it was a crazy show. It was really funny too because it also is a good insight. It's like how we were as a culture because everyone's like, dude, he cries on his MTV show. What a loser. But like the thing he's crying about is his parents getting divorced. And he's only like 17 probably. But we're all like, what a bitch. Why is he crying about that?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I had no idea about this show.
Life of Ryan, yeah. It's basically Laguna Beach. For
one more season? More than one season, I mean?
I think they did 2.
Wow. What and man, MTV must have been like, yeah, we're all about skateboarding at some point. Because there was also like, this is probably an era I would assume. Well, 08 is probably after things like movies, Lords of Dogtown and Z Boys. And
yeah,
stuff
it's
like
probably maybe a year or two removed.
Because I was still in like high school, and I would have been graduated by 08. So like when those came out, I remember when those came out. Grind. I remember when Grind came out.
That was another huge guilty pleasure movie where it's kind of like, oh man, Grind's so lame, but like secretly you and your friends be like, you guys want to watch Grind?
You want to watch it? Well, there's other like skate. I would assume like maybe Encino Man is like a skateboarding movie.
Encino Man, I wish we could claim that movie as a skateboarding movie.
Don't they skate a bunch?
They skate. I mean, they skate a little bit, but
it's like as if like Better Off Dead is a ski movie. That's like
that's
the equivalent, right? It's not like all about it, but like that's the thing they pick, to be a part of.
It's really funny how skateboarding was used for a long time to like as like an archetype for people, like in Clueless. It's like, oh, here's the skateboarder.
Totally, Breckenmeyer.
Yeah, Breckenmeyer.
Yeah,
and then even in like The Simpsons when they had Poochie the dog.
Oh yeah,
he's a skateboarder.
Well, Bart's a skateboarder.
Yeah, Bart skates.
Bart skates.
It's pretty funny. But,
I mean, was that even ever a thing where people like, oh, I gotta get a Bart Simpson sticker or like?
Oh, Simpsons is always held in high esteem.
Yeah,
people thought Bart was cool. One of the coolest things ever was that this company Santa Cruz like released Bart Simpson's board, like a replica, like the same shape, color.
Cool.
Yeah, it was very, very cool.
That weird green.
Yeah,
that's funny. That's cool as hell.
Oh, it was awesome.
Well, I mean, what year did you get, or how old were you when you got into it?
So I got like a little banana board, penny board from my great grandmother when I was like 8 probably. So I would like mess around with that, but then I didn't like skate until 6th grade predominantly. And it was because like I'd gotten a real board because a kid down the street, a couple grades older than me, got one. And then in 6th grade, I saw this kid had a World Industry sticker on his binder. And I was like, oh, I think he skates. So I was like, hey, man, do you skate? He's like, yeah, I skate. I was like, me too. So like I really picked it up just to be like, oh, I'll befriend this kid. Like, and then, from 6th grade on is like when I really started just skating 24/7.
Huh. That's cool. Yeah, 24/7. Wow.
Yeah.
Do you,
365.
all days, every day.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's crazy. I mean, what? And then you kind of moved away to go to college.
Yeah, then I went to Stillwater, Oklahoma. Still in Oklahoma. It's like an hour and a half away from Tulsa.
And you probably found a skate community there.
Yeah, there were some other people that skated and would just hang out with and then drink with.
But
definitely
focused on your studies.
Yeah, I was a studious kid, I think.
I assume less travel and stuff.
For sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was fun skating Stillwater. But yeah, I mean, but it's cool because like I'd still be tapped into the Tulsa scene. Like I'd still come home and like skate and like follow it and see what people are doing and whatnot.
There's all these like new crews and stuff like that.
Yeah, that was definitely weird. Like, cause I feel like most people when they age, they just kind of one day realize like, oh, I'm old now, or like I'm older. Whereas like with skateboarding, you're in it and then you just. Because there's no age range, because you'll go to like a skate park or skate spot, you'll run into kids that are like 8 or 9 maybe.
Yeah.
But then like you see those kids get better and older, and you're also realizing like, oh wait, I'm the old guy at the park now.
Yeah.
Like, I remember this dude. Now it's me. What is happening? But like you feel it in real time, see it in real time. So I've slowly been experiencing my slow death for years.
Yeah, right. You know, that femur bone's getting weaker and weaker.
Exactly.
Yeah, I definitely feel that too, because as like another comic analogy, kind of, or just to I started young as a stand-up. I started at like 18, and I was always like the youngest kid, and it was at a time where like there weren't as many stand-ups. Like there were plenty, but there weren't a lot of 20-somethings even. Like there were 20-somethings, but it was kind of a lot of like 40-somethings, and then people that were like getting into it maybe in their 30s, but like late 20s, and now they're like 30, and those were the guys I was hanging out with, and I was like 18. They would be like 27, 28, 29, and then there were a few people in their 20s, but like not, like certainly not in the group I was in as much. And then all of a sudden, there were all these people that like did start at like 18, 19, 20 in college, and then they moved to New York. Because I was also in New York. And so it was all these people that like had moved to New York from other scenes, when they were like 29 or whatever too. And then all of a sudden, when I turned like 23, there were people like my generation, my age, that were clearly watching the same stuff I was watching and getting into stand-up. And then all of a sudden they're like all there and they had all this other experience and I was like, oh, whoa, now I'm the same age as everybody. Yeah. And I remember feeling that of being like, whoa, I'm not the young. I was always the youngest person.
Exactly.
For like 5 years.
Exactly. That's how I always felt. Like I was a 14-year-old kid running the skate shop at one point. Yeah. Yeah. Like the owner was like, hey, we're going out of town. We're going to take a Seattle trip. We wish you could come, but you're not 19 yet, because like the drinking age in Canada is lower, so they would take a trip to Vancouver and Seattle and like drink and hang out and skate. They're like, you're too young, but we also like trust you the most and you skate for the shop. Can you run the shop while we're gone?
So what was running the shop like?
So normally the shop would open at 12, right? Okay. Like standard
except
stuff.
When you were there.
Except for me, because I had 7th grade math to send to. So it'd be like alternate hours were on the door, and it would be school ends at like 2:45, and so I would skate half a mile from school to the shop, like 3:30 the latest it would open, and I'd get the cash register, count the cash, and then parents would just come in and be like, I'd be like, hi, how's it going? Like, and they're like, hey, like is Sean around? Like, no, he's in Vancouver. What can I help you with? Like, oh, okay. But yeah, surprisingly, like, and like other kids knew, like, wait, like Josh is running the shop? This is so weird. That's great. Or my nickname at the time was Mingling. So they'd be like, oh, Mingling's running the shop? sick. Let's just go hang out. And so, thank God people liked me enough to not be like, let's rob this place. Because, it would have been so easy. Like,
Yeah, what would you have done?
yeah, but yeah, I would literally go, unlock the door, hurry to the alarm system, punch in the code, and then wait until 9 p.m. and
Wow.
close it. Yeah, pretty wild.
Yeah, I mean, I remember doing stuff like that a little bit too, where like I was like managing like rooms, like not like actually managing, like counting like all the cash register stuff, but like certainly running a part of an operation of a comedy club at like 18. It's like, what am I doing here?
Exactly.
I remember I one time, like, there was like a big show or like 3 shows in a row, and then I had so much cash, like, so it was like really we didn't like take credit cards, I guess. So this fucking crazy fat wad of cash, like almost $1,000, and I'm like 19 years old, and I had to like deposit it or whatever, bring it to somebody like a couple days later, and it was freaking me out.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember being like, I can't do this again. Like, I can't. And I was like, if I lose this, like, you're never getting it back. And they were like, you'll work it off. I'm like, I'm 19. I would just quit. I didn't sign a contract or a W-2. What are you gonna do? It's a load of cash, and you're gonna have lost that. And I had to like explain to this 35-year-old man, like, no, that's not how it's gonna go. Like, I can't just like owe you money because I am not to be trusted and am untrained.
Yeah, that's
like, it's not. I'm never doing this again.
That's how you get trapped.
Yeah, I was like, dude, when it's $100, $200, like, it's a different story. But like $1,000, like, at that time, it was like more money than I had seen in my life. Certainly
especially in cash. It's $1,000, but it feels like 20,000.
Yeah, exactly. It was like I can't deal with this. Like, it's not. I'm not like making enough money to even deal with this.
Right.
Like, you're paying me whatever, nothing probably, but like $50 maybe. I have no idea what it was. It was like, I'm not like owing you $900 for stage time.
Like
it's not gonna happen. I'm like a rat over here, just like hiding things in like a cubby hole or whatever. It's like it ain't happening. Well, I was gonna say something else about Tulsa in general. So you touched on like some of these people thought you were like Satanists and stuff, but like, was Tulsa like cool? Were there other like kind of cool niche Tulsa scenes or something, or was Tulsa just known as kind of like avoided almost?
Nah, there was definitely like cool scenes going on. Like there's definitely like a lot of like punk music.
Yeah, that's
like,
what I was.
Yeah, like there was a place called the Pink Eye that people would go. That's where everyone would go to like underage drink and watch like just your friends' punk band.
Yeah, cool.
There's all that stuff going on, but yeah, I mean, Oklahoma it still is crazy conservative. It's less now. But like, for example, even at the time, so the skate shop was also secretly a tattoo parlor in the back, but it had to be secret because during that 2000s time, getting a tattoo was illegal in Oklahoma.
That's so crazy.
Like, it was like very much frowned upon. And then you're just like,
very much. What was the punishment?
Some fine.
Just you get a fine, so it just costs more?
Yes, it's probably just some crazy like state way to reap in some cash.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like a big deal. Like it was like you can't get like you could go get your ears pierced and stuff, thankfully. But they're at the same time they're like, we are only a piercing shop. We are not a parlor as well.
I love the idea of it being like Claire's is illegal.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Finding a bunch of 6-year-old girls and stuff.
That would be so crazy. Like though to find tattoo. I mean, it's like, what are they? They're worried about you being buried in a Jewish cemetery. Like, what's the point of this?
Yeah, actually, Tulsa, biggest Jewish population
in the country. Yeah, right. That's nuts. I mean, it's definitely known, I guess, as being like a conservative place, but it could be anything. Like Tulsa in a way. Tulsa's a city, right? So it's
right.
you could totally be like that kind of cool thing going on of like, I'm trying to think of a good comparison, like Oakland or something.
Yeah,
it could be one of these like a little off the beaten path, but like there's a lot of scenes here.
Definitely.
There's a lot of people that they're like doing stuff.
Right. And what was cool, of course, golden hour glasses and stuff back then, but definitely Tulsa then was a little bit cooler just because everything was kind of still run down. Like downtown wasn't popping. Like skate spots, you could skate without really worrying about security too much anywhere, anytime, even during the week. Whereas like now it's like a lot of money's been put into it where it's a completely different city almost.
I got you. Yeah. I mean, it's been 15 years. Or whatever.
Again, I'm reminded of my slow age and death. Oh God. But yeah, I mean, it's very funny. Like, I'm not sure if this is still the law there, but like even like pornography was like not allowed to show penetration.
Oh wow.
So like if you were like an idiot if you bought porn at like the adult store in Oklahoma because it would just be softcore.
That's funny.
Yeah, like that was a big deal.
Even by 08.
Yeah,
I guess.
like,
That's so nuts.
it was always just like, so like whenever we'd go to Kansas City, like especially with my group of friends, like one of the people was 18 at the time, I'd be like, "Can you buy me a porn mag, dude?" But it's gotta be one with the DVD, because that was like the loophole. So yeah, it's very very scummy 15-year-old behavior. But
yeah, I mean, I remember just doing it. It's so amazing what you're like. This is a big deal when you're a kid, and when you're a teenager. That as an adult, you're like, this is nothing. I'm going through 6-pack in a night.
Exactly.
Like whatever. Where you split like 2 beers amongst 5 kids or something.
Oh yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. Well, yeah. What was I gonna say? Just that kind of stuff about Tulsa skateboarding and stuff is just so interesting, and like all these different crews. I think there's something cool about something cool, obviously, about skating and being in a crew, but there's something extra cool about being in Tulsa.
Yeah, I think so too.
I
mean,
gotta like it reminds me of like that movie SLC Punk.
Yeah.
Where it's like you have to be it. You have to really like have it there and be building it. It's got to be DIY.
Exactly.
That kind of stuff.
Yeah, because I mean we're very very far removed from like the skateboard industry, so we're not involved in any of that. And then especially at that time, it's like, well, what is there to do for fun? It's like some people would just do drugs, like meth's a huge thing. Thankfully never went down that path, but. So it's just like we had our own interest skateboarding, and then it just compounded. And the crews are cool. Like, it's also kind of crazy because the crews kind of all had like tragedies strike within them. Like Randy Rush, for example, was murdered in his own house.
That is insane. That's so crazy.
Very crazy.
Was this? And you were like around then when you were 15?
Yeah, like they were like the people we would look up to, being like, oh, like that's the crew. We can't wait for them to release the video. It's gonna be so sick to see like the new tricks they've done, where they've gone. Like that was like we were like we're like, these guys are like the local legends. These guys are like the hometown heroes. These guys are awesome. Yeah, he was murdered.
When you first heard he died, were you like, what was the trick? Like before you heard it was like a murder?
Yeah,
you were like, where did he skate?
Oh, man.
There's Riverview Park? No,
yeah.
That's crazy. He was murdered. What was he murdered over?
Most likely drugs.
Oh,
he was a bit of a drug dealer.
We were just talking about meth and the like.
Yeah, big drug dealer, and then just got robbed. And then what's crazier, though, is like that crew specifically, there's been like a lot of those people have passed away now.
Yeah.
Like one guy, Fern, he just moved back from California. They had a whole video being made focused on him. And then he just had a bad drug trip, jumped out of a 7-story window the night of his like welcome back party. Like people left, yeah.
Jeez.
But, there's
like a DARE program. Like you take this drug, you're gonna think you can fly.
Exactly. I mean, that's pretty much what happened.
That's
sure.
crazy. I didn't know that really happened.
Yeah, and what's even crazier is like, I was 15 at the time. Again, I'm thinking all these people were so much older. I was just looking at like the articles about he's only 18.
Oh,
I was just like, now I'm like, oh my god,
that is twisted.
Yeah, there's even that specific crew, the money, like I just call them the Money in the Movie crew. There's even like a photography book made by this LA photographer Nick Hames that's all about it. It's called The Last One Alive's the First Suspect, and it's like titled that because so many of those people have now passed away.
Wow,
and, like it's insane.
That is crazy.
And this book is like a big book. It's been like exhibited in like Japan and stuff, like the photos and stuff.
Whoa.
But yeah, Tulsa's also always kind of had that little look and feel. Like I'm sure you know Larry Clark.
Larry Clark?
Yeah, photographer, artist guy. He's most known for the movie Kids, directing the movie Kids.
Yeah, okay. I've seen that.
He has a photo book, Tulsa. He's from Oklahoma and everything.
Oh.
I'm 99% sure he's from Oklahoma, but yeah, he like grew up. His Tulsa photography book from like the 70s, I'm assuming, is just people like shooting up heroin, like just doing drugs.
Yeah, it was a dangerous
guns.
place.
Yeah. It also has the Outsider's house.
Oh,
The Outsiders filmed in Tulsa.
I forgot that, but I knew that.
And this podcast is sponsored by the Broadway show Outsiders that's coming out, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah, for sure. There's a Broadway show of Outsiders.
Oh
coming
yeah,
out?
and you know your boy's going.
Well, why wouldn't you? You know, stay gold, pony boy.
Exactly.
Well, that's crazy. So yeah, let's finish up. You wanted to mention nicknames. You gave yours away. You were Ming Ling.
Yeah, I was Ming Ling. Still don't know why. Yeah, Ming Ling. Nicknames are a huge part of the skate shop and skate scene, especially for dark side skates. There's 2 Native American twins. Can you guess their nicknames?
Oh, you told me. I think I remember.
See if you remember.
Pocahontas and Sacagawea.
That is so messed up. Why would you think that? Nah, that is their nickname.
That was it.
Yeah, so we had Pocahontas, Sacagawea. Oh wait, I remember some other good ones. We had this one girl that would kind of linger around. She was like, I mean, we never use these terms, but back then they'd be called like a ramp tramp.
Ramp tramp?
Yeah. But
everybody's got that kind of like roadkill, struggle fucker kind of thing. Ring rat.
Yeah, but her nickname was Stinky Feet, which is great because she just had horrendous smelling feet.
That is so among skateboarders. I assume everybody's feet were terribly disgusting.
Yeah, and I was never one to talk. Like I literally would have just sweat crusted black girl jeans with dried blood. Like I was considered like Hesh like back then. But so we had Stinky Feet. We had 2 kids with stutters. Shout out Joe Biden. But they had stutters, so we called, and their name was Travis, so we called him Skippy T. And then we Skippy T, he was a very funny kid. And then there was another kid with stutter, but just to make it still work and rhyme, we just called him Skippy 3. There's a lot. There's a kid named Freak Show, who was just this tall, gangly, like 70 pounds wet, probably like 6'3", just goofy dude. And he tried to rebrand his name later on because he ended up having a massive wiener, just a massive wang. And he was like, tell girls, like, they call me Freak Show. And then I always just want to be in the back, like, that's not true. that's not why we call him Freak Show.
Oh, that's amazing.
But yeah, there's another guy who did have a wiener nickname. That was true. His nickname was Crowbar, just because his dick, for whatever. And for some reason, like, we just always saw each other's balls and penises, I guess. But yeah, he had a crowbar penis. I'm trying to think if there's any other like fun nicknames that stood out.
Does it like get him into a bank or something like that? Like you can get into a bank vault with it, like Okay, we'll get into anywhere.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But I bet that nickname served him well because then he ended up being like joining the Navy. He's like always out in submarines and stuff on boats.
So he's gay.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. They say that about the Navy.
Nicknames were a nice like rite of passage. Like if you got a nickname, like, you're one of the guys.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like these nicknames, they might sound harsh now, but no one ever even took them in a negative way.
Really? Yeah, that's cool.
Like you're bummed if they're just like, hey Alex, you'd be like, fuck.
Yeah, right. It's a point of pride for sure.
Yeah, and
you probably want it to be something like a little weird because it's like you say.
Oh, gnarly. For sure. Gnarly. Yeah, it was cool. Like I was always stoked on mingling. It rhymed. People would make fun songs with my name.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're just like, give him a ring-a-ling if you want some mingling. Like that was fun. Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, it was cool. I was so stoked on the name that at the time I was just like, like we're sitting at the shop watching skate videos, hanging out all day. I was like, guys. Dude, I'm telling you right now, when I turn 18, I'm legally changing my name to Ming Ling. And I was like dead serious. And they're like, that's so sick, dude. You should do that.
Everybody wants it.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's going to get you there, man.
Some other oddballs, quick stories about the shop. So, again, like I was like very poor. And one of the things that I wanted to do is go to this skate convention called ASR, which is just like skate companies, whatever, see tons of pros. But like the owner would buy me lunch and like give me free product all the time. But he was like, hey, like I can't like cover your full ticket out to San Diego. And like, it's like, I'll look after you, but you gotta like raise money to like some way. And I'm like, damn. And it's so crazy because at the time they're just like, just get like a couple $100. And I was like that shouldn't be a problem, but it was like monumental. Like, how am I gonna get? So one day at the shop, I was like, it was like 3 months out from their trip, and I was like, hey guys, how much would you give me if I just shaved off both my eyebrows right now?
Whoa.
And they're like, well, let's look in our pockets. And again, they're like other 15-year-old kids.
Yeah.
So it ended up being a whopping $7.75. And I was like, put it towards the budget. And then just straight up shaved them off. And then it was like during the school year, just going to school the next day. You're like, who's this monster?
Yeah. I imagine you just showing up to San Diego just completely hairless, being like, I raised $16.
Well, that was the thing. So then after that, like everyone just thought it was so funny. Like, man, this kid just shaved his eyebrows off for just on his own. Like, just he brought it up. And then I remember then they're like, yo, because I had longer hair at the time, so I could kind of hide it. Like you could kind of not tell. And they're just like, yo, we'll give you 100 if you shave your head too. I was like, get the clippers.
Yeah.
But then my mom was like coming to the skate shop to pick me up. And she's like, wait, you're going to do what? And she, like, for whatever reason, my mom's super against shaved heads. Like her line was just like, you can shave your head when I die. I'm like, oh, jeez.
Wow.
So that couldn't happen. But then looking back, my mom's so sweet because she also was like, what happened to your eyebrows? And I couldn't tell her that we shaved them off for $7.75. So I remember telling her this lie. I was like, I was at Walker's house and like I went to light a candle and I got too close to the flame and it singed the hair off of one. So I didn't want to look weird. So I just shaved the other one off, and both of them. And my mom was like, at least you're not doing drugs, I guess.
Yeah, right.
But
wow.
Yeah, so yeah, that was a fun time trying to raise money. And then like I purposely peed my pants for $5.
Man, you really
yeah, dude.
I think you could have done this for more money. You could have raised that $200 just with the eyebrows. I think
so. Yeah,
you spread the word a little bit. You would have been fine.
But yeah, that's just the kind of place it was. Just like you hang out all day and like play carpet skate. It was just
figure
fun.
some weird stuff out. Yeah. Carpet skate.
Yeah, it's like so in the skate shop it was like wet outside. You'd play a game of skate, and playing a game of skate is the same as like playing horse in basketball.
Oh, okay.
It's like do the same trick. If you don't, you get a letter. But
that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds great. It sounds like an awesome time to be alive. You know.
Oh, it was wonderful. Well, not to keep derailing you, but we also were big gamblers with dice.
Oh, you played a lot of dice?
Played a lot of dice. Huh. Brought that to school. That was a good time. His teachers were like, "What are you doing?"
Absolutely.
Rolling 7s and 11s, and that was another way I tried to raise money. And maybe one of our biggest skate shop things, we made a local skate shop video, and it was called "Death Before Emo." Like death before disco. Like the shop owner was like, "Oh, like emo music sucks, disco sucks. Let's make this." So he made shirts, sold like hotcakes. Like everybody, even non-skaters wanted them. Like, that shirt's so funny. But it got so crazy that the school was like, we're banning that shirt. We're like, why? And the school was like, it's because you're making fun of emo kids.
That's why?
So I was like, wait, it's not because
they're already so sad.
Yeah, it's like, it's not because we're saying like we'd rather die, like a bunch of 14-year-old kids wearing I'm gonna kill myself shirts.
Yeah, before
I
listen
they're like,
emo.
no, like you're just bullying emo kids. We're like, okay.
Well, that's ridiculous.
Very funny.
Well, it's amazing. Well, where can people buy this Death Before Emo shirt? No, where can people find you?
People can find me on Instagram at Joshua Lay, and then also at joshualay.com.
Oh, and you got some stuff coming up? Like, plug your show.
I do. So, producing a show called Shoes Off Please. It starts, the first show is going to be May 10th. It's going to be a fundraiser for Asian American Pacific Islander Month. It's donating to charities. We've got a great lineup, a lot of funny comics from the city. It's also going to be an art show, great artists. So come hang out, get some drinks, put your money to something good. Be fun.
Heck yeah, the Art House, you said, right?
Yes,
Here,
Our House Productions.
here in Jersey City, New
Always
Jersey.
forget the location.
Yeah, throw it all out there.
But yeah, Our House Productions, right off the Grove Path station. So
But follow you at Joshua Lay. You'll be posting about it.
yeah, I'll be posting about it ad nauseum.
Tickets are on sale now.
They are.
Yeah, sweet. I'm Alex Grubard on everything at Alex Grubard, Grubard. Thanks for watching. Why don't you rate, review, subscribe, share it, all that kind of stuff that people say. Thanks so much, Joshua. Thank you.
Thank you for having me, man.
We'll see you next time on the Scenester podcast.